We've got to reduce human exposure to toxic substances. This is why I have a Victorian E-petition 63. Please do sign it. This petition is to get all these hazardous personal products being brought into workplaces and community places that are causing accumulation of petroleum-based and other toxic chemicals to a hazard level to be removed. Because this high exposure to toxic chemicals in personal products disables people to the extent that they're not able to work. Human bodily immune system reactions to toxic chemicals, and this may manifest in different ways: allergies, asthma, cancer, lowered productivity and emotional suffering, which often gets referred to as psychiatrists, and this doesn't help the situation as the workplace hazard is not investigated and more exposure to toxic chemicals results. Currently, hospitals are not healthy places for people with multiple chemical sensitivity, as hospitals have chemicals such as propylene glycol, a petroleum-based substance that mimics cell chemotaxis in food, air and medicines. Chemotaxis, that's when you've got a dancing molecule like propylene glycol. Well, propylene glycol is named the dancing molecule, and it mimics a white blood cell whereby it can leave the bloodstream and go to other places in the body and not be detected in a blood test. Now, previously, medicine has said, oh, it's been metabolized by the body, but it hasn't, it's just left the bloodstream. This means this is why these forced drugs by psychiatrists and other medicines often incur huge weight gain, which seems a bit, it's not like normal fat, it's something else. It is in fact the result of propylene glycol substances like that. You don't want petrol in your body. It's dangerous, and if you don't have an immune system reaction to try and get it out straight away, you're more liable to gain weight and also develop things like cancer. This forced treatments of psychiatry. Victoria is one of the most, it is the worst, it's the capital in the world for psychiatry. More use of force in Victoria than any other place per capita. This means draconian arbitrary detention and forced treatments under the Mental Health Act 2014. They updated it in 2014, but it didn't change. We have more forced psychiatry than ever. 10,000 people subjected to forced psychiatry last year. 620 of them were subjected to forced electrocution under general anaesthetic. One of them was Garth Daniels, who was electrocuted 115 times in 6 months. Now, of course, the general anaesthetic is toxic to most people, so to have that several times a week and forced on you is not something most people would choose. But when you have your government forcing that on you, that is diabolical. These toxic medical products forced on people who are already suffering from an overdose of petroleum chemicals. They may alert their doctor and say, look, psychiatrist, it seems I am allergic to these chemicals. I suffer an allergy to anaesthetics, it causes nosebleeds, headaches, that sort of things. Perfumes cause me problems. Then they still don't listen, which is very common, and inject these chemicals. It can cause, it maims and kills. It maims and kills. In fact, half of the population that dies in Australia each year, of those people are on psychiatric drugs. So there's no doubt that there's iatrogenic deaths happening through forced psychiatry. And in a system of force, there's no real choice. There's no people who are really choosing this treatment. So remove the force. That's what we need. And we also need these deodorants and perfumes and other personal products, as well as the psychiatric medicines that are forced on people. Because we don't want this severe suffering and for this to be called medicine and help and care when it's not. And for these personal products to be called hygienic when they're not. It's not hygienic to pour petrol on yourself, and if you think it smells good, well, the chemicals are causing a person harm. So you don't know how many people you've met in your life that you really liked, and they reacted to the toxins you were wearing, which they are toxins, and you never saw them again. They didn't tell you why. So you don't know what this is happening, but we need the government to regulate it. So you don't have to think about it. You can actually trust the government. That would be really nice. At the moment, it seems the regulation's so poor that they can't be trusted, and it borders on exploitation, and potentially this is forced human experimentation under the Mental Health Act 2014. We have a request from the United Nations, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, the CRPD committee, to abolish forced psychiatry, to have the Mental Health Act 2014, the Victorian Mental Health Act 2014, repealed. Because under this Australia signed and ratified this covenant. Under this covenant, the CRPD, it's illegal to discriminate on the basis of perceived disability, arbitrarily detain and force these, what are called medical treatments. Forced medicine's illegal under the CRPD. Certainly forced human experimentation is illegal under the CRPD and under other covenants of human rights as well. It's diabolical. So this petition is asking for action from the Victorian government, and you need to sign it before the 16th of August. We want a ban on the use of petroleum-based deodorants, perfumes and other toxic products in the workplace. We want advocacy to move towards fume-free spaces so we can all breathe. We want to make it a work-safe policy to have workplaces free from toxic deodorants and perfumes. It will increase productivity, and make it mandatory for safety masks to be worn should hazardous products be necessary in the workplace. And we need to repeal this Victorian Mental Health Act 2014. By that I mean abolish it, on the basis that forcing people with sensitivities, allergies, asthma, cancer and other reactions and vulnerabilities to the high level of toxins in hospital spaces as well as the medicines is unethical and unhealthy. So please sign E-petition 63 if you live in the state of Victoria or Australia, and needs to be done by August 6. Let's all reduce human exposure to toxic substances.